Well, America, I tried to tell you. Didn't I try telling you that this is not a drill, this is not a game, this is the final word, and we're about to break it all down. So holla at your boy. Let's go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the third episode of The Final Word. My name is Candy, and I'm joined with my co hosts, Skip and Stephen A.
Candy, this is Stephen A. show. You make sure you put my name first from here on out.
Stephen A. show. Stephen A. I don't know if you're aware, but are you even into football anymore? The NBA just started last night. Don't you got some coverage
I know he
for
don't
some of
know
the
how to
games?
pronounce the names. That's what I know.
You're
Yeah,
gonna be on
Jamar
leave.
Gibbs, Jamar.
You're gonna be on leave soon if you don't put a tie on, sir.
Hey, Stephen A. Just make sure you get the football names right and don't accidentally say LeBron James.
Good seeing you both.
Good to be here. Thank you. All right, we have a lot to cover tonight, so bear with us, guys. We appreciate all the questions that came in. Thank you, Victoria. We're going to use one of your questions for the people's vote. So, the first question, and I will kick it to Skip. What is the best quarterback of the 2024 draft?
Stephen A. I think this one is a slam dunk. I mean, this is a no-brainer. All right, I looked at the draft class. It includes, Drake May, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, and those characters. I mean, I think it's an easy one. It's Jaden Daniels. It's not even close. I mean, you look at it. I mean, he won Offensive Rookie of the Year, had that incredible run, birthed in the NFC Championship game, and quite honestly was, he ran into a buzzsaw with the Eagles, but could have easily gotten that team to the Super Bowl. You look at the numbers: 69% completion percentage, 3,530 yards, 25 touchdowns, made plays with his legs. I mean, yes, is he, as thin as a scarecrow and one hit can take him out? Absolutely. But for that year, he was electric. And, so the injury bug has got him this year, but I think that still carries weight with none of the other quarterbacks have really proven or done anything outside of Bo Nix this past weekend. That's about the only thing he's had.
As usual, Skip, you're second best here. I mean, this is amateur hour with you each week. I don't know how we stay on the air, honestly, with some of your hot takes.
My good
I
luck.
mean, you had the answer kind of correct. Jane Daniels had a great rookie season, but he has taken a step back this year. That Washington Commanders team does not look the same, but a guy who's taken a step forward and actually has his team in contention. And you know what I'm about to say. It's Caleb Williams in Chicago. The guy
Stop
is
right
elite
now.
talent, strong arm, high football IQ, proven playmaking ability, and now he's got weapons around him. He's got his team at 5-2. Skip. The Commanders are what? 3-3.
The Bears got you in their paycheck.
I
I
think you're
call
on
it
the
like it is,
payroll,
Candy.
Stephen A. You're on the payroll. That's what I think. Caleb
Chicago's
Williams.
they're
That's where you're
five and
going.
two. He looks great.
That's where you're going. Look. Look. Jaden Daniels, Heisman Trophy winner, Rookie of the Year,
So what?
NFC Championship. What has Caleb done in the NFL other than this year?
Are
There
you
were
going to
there were
throw in?
talks. There were talks, legitimate talks last year about whether he was the guy in Chicago
And he's
and if he
proven
was
he's
going
the
to get
guy.
pushed to the side. Ben Johnson has saved that man's career. Saved
That's
it.
part. That's part of good coaching, though. You're correct. Caleb Williams had a rocky start, but he's proven to be a great coach or a great quarterback. And I don't care about Heisman. Are you going to talk about Jaden Daniels' Boy Scouts award he had back in sixth grade as well? And what are you doing for me right now? And right now, Jaden Daniels is in a sophomore slump. That offense is not rolling the way it was a year ago. That team's not even going to win their division, it looks like, and they're certainly not going to make a run. The team that can make a run, Chicago Bears, led by the answer to the question, Caleb Williams.
They're not even the best team in that division. Stop. That's the most blasphemous statement. Stephen A., you got to quit watching basketball. I know it started last night. All right, move on and start watching some actual football. Because if you think that Caleb Williams is a better NFL quarterback than Jaden Daniels, you're insane.
I didn't say a
Absolutely
better
insane.
quarterback. You asked the question. Clearly, you didn't prepare. Like you didn't wear a tie. The question is not about who's a better player. It's about who's the best from that class, and it's Caleb Williams.
Best
I'll go
player.
next.
Best
I'll keep
player.
going.
The best
I'll keep
player in the
going.
class.
Jaden Daniels isn't even the second best quarterback. It's
Oh,
Drake
get out of
May.
here.
It's Drake May.
All right, guys. Let's Stephen A. Which player had the more impactful return? Was it CeeDee Lamb or was it Rashee Rice?
You know, I think I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're back, Skip. Um,
I
you
almost
might
couldn't take
like
it.
this one. You might like this one. I think it's CD Lamb, quite frankly. CD Lamb is the alpha target. He gets the majority share over in that Dallas Cowboys offense. He dominates that passing game with 30% of the team's targets. Um, Rashee Rice splits those looks with Kelsey, Hollywood Brown, and others. CD Lamb is a proven wide receiver number one. Rice is trending towards a superstar status, but CD Lamb, let me tell you, is already there. He's consistently a top 5 fantasy receiver. He's capable of winning single-handedly performances for his players that he's the teams he's on. Rice hasn't shown that ceiling quite yet. And CeeDee Lamb has established chemistry already with Dak Prescott. Rice's role with Mahomes is still developing. It's going to get there in the future, but right now, by a slight edge, I got to give the edge to that team that you might know something about that um, has CD on their squad.
All right, Stephen A. I mean, as somebody who obviously covered the Dallas Cowboys for a number of years, was around Jerry Jones, and got to see the big three, the real big three. Um, you know, you would think that I would agree with you here, but of course you're completely off because you failed to listen to the question. You must have been looking at some basketball highlights off to the side and didn't hear the question. It's about the most impactful player to return this year. Which one
Yes,
was more impactful? It can't be CeeDee Lamb. It can't be because Stephen A. Without CeeDee Lamb in the lineup, the Cowboys were the number one offense in the National Football League. Okay, we're talking about impact. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs and what they've done without Rashee Rice. It's not a pretty offense. Patrick Mahomes looks average at best at times. I'm going to read you some numbers. I know you're a big numbers guy, Stephen
I'm
A.
glad you
All
can
right.
read, Skip.
Yeah, pay attention. I can read. All right. Now, whether you can comprehend, that's another story. All right. I'm going to read you some fantasy production. 2024 from Rashee Rice, played 3 games. All right. 72 total fantasy points, 24 catches out of 29 targets. That means that's 5 he didn't catch, and you do the math. All right. 288 yards, 2 touchdowns. My man played in 1 game this year. 23 fantasy points, 7 catches, 10 targets. Again, that's 3 he didn't catch. All right, 42 yards and 2 touchdowns. The offense with Rashee Rice in there looks completely different. It absolutely changes the Kansas City Chiefs. It changes Patrick Mahomes. It's true, legit wide receiver one production. I mean, it opens the offense up for Xavier Worthy. Now they can't double him. Now they can't just play 2 safeties over the top. All right, he takes the top over the defense, off the defense. There's a legit threat there now. And I mean, you talk about Travis Kelsey. He's too busy with Taylor Swift. I mean, let's be real. He's too busy filming commercials, making movies, and traveling to her concerts to be any kind of productive in that offense. And with Rashee Rice in that lineup, it opens up the run game. Stephen A. I don't know how much you understand about coverages and how
What I
teams
understand is you
they
said
coach their
everything
quarterback.
other. What I understand, Skip, is you said everything other than, but you don't got to take my word for it. Reading Rainbow. I mean, can you read? Are you just going to read stats to us all day, LeVar Burton? I mean, you did everything other than say, but you don't got to take my word for it. CD Lamb is on a squad who needs him to return.
They were the number one offense without him.
But the team that he is on
Number
is
one.
struggling. The team that
One.
he plays
The,
for,
the offense ain't
Powers
struggling.
of the
It's the
Galaxy,
defense can't stop anybody. I don't think the
Bowers,
Dallas Cowboys defense could stop the local junior varsity football team. It
Bowers
Okay,
is
of the
abysmal.
Galaxy.
guys, I think both teams are lucky to have their players back. Okay, we're gonna squash
Bowers of
this
the
one
Galaxy needed a miracle to
before
win
it gets
last week.
too heated. We're moving on to the next. Thank you. Okay.
Oh, finally, we can have a real show. There we
Okay.
go. Now some real takes.
Skip, what player is the X factor for their team's chances at winning a championship if their team makes it to the playoffs?
Defies logic. Defies
Steve,
logic.
Stephen A., just like your takes, it defies logic. All right, listen. There's a lot of choices here because there's obviously I just looked at the top. There's some real heavy hitters, some contenders here. I think there's a lot of choices that there's some question marks where if this player goes down, this player does this, right? It could really derail a season. Like obviously Matthew Wood's team with Christian McCaffrey, we all know
Yep.
that man. Every time he goes down and gets hit, I mean, if I'm a fantasy owner, I'm holding my breath, right? Because he
First
could knock
thing you
you out.
said, that's actually true. First thing you said is
I've
true.
actually said a lot of facts. You spit a lot of, I don't know what they are. All right, and you look at the 7-0 squad over there at Raptorius. All right, I mean, sometimes when I look at that roster, I get confused. Is he talking about Jurassic Park with a raptor, or is it a fantasy football team? But I mean, JSN. I look at Jackson Smith and Jigba. You look at his, and we're talking about playoff schedule. The defenses that he faces during the playoffs are pretty legit defenses that can get after the quarterback. All right, and then obviously Bijan Robinson is another factor. But I'm going to go with Stephen A. Hold your breath here. All right, don't hold it too long. I'm going to go with Candy Squad and Saquon Barkley. All right, and I'm going to tell you why. If you look at, I don't know if you're aware, if you look at when the playoffs start, what week of the NFL season, and what teams play. All right. I know, I know you're checked out on the NFL now and it's on the basketball, but Saquon Barkley, I'm going to read you the rush defenses that he plays during the postseason. The Raiders, they ain't stopping anybody. Washington, and then at Buffalo. Those are bottom three rush defenses. All right. I know Saquon hasn't really taken off. We're all talking about, workload and all this kind of stuff after the huge season he had last year. But I argue that them being able to throw the football with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and the way that offense is ran, if that continues, it's going to open up Saquon because they can't just load the box anymore because teams are going to get beat over the top. I think Saquon Barkley could be the sneaky one that changes the postseason for a team.
I didn't know we were on a filibuster here on the Senate floor. I didn't know we were just going to hijack the whole show, Skip. This is First Take with Stephen A. I didn't know you know that. That's a long-winded answer to not get
Co-host.
any of it correct.
Co-host.
That's a long-winded answer to not have any of that correct. There are a couple of things in there. Number one, Saquon Barkley, Kenny's team doesn't really have to have him. She's got a lot of talent on that team without Saquon. To call him an X, he's a good player, but X Factor, it's who you need to go off to win. There are a couple
In order for
players.
Candy to win the championship, she needs Saquon Barkley, who the
There are a
team is
couple.
named after, and their best player.
There are a couple. Well, yes, they are. There are a couple players, Skip, that would be bigger threats if their team was closer to contention. I think we both will agree. We haven't agreed on a whole lot, but we will agree that I'm sure Lamar Jackson is a big time threat if Boring Ring Without a Name could get closer to playoff contention. I'm sure we'll agree Jamar Chase for I'm Crazy One can single-handedly win her a championship if she can get in the playoffs. But the right answer here is going to come down to Josh Allen from Ziggyville. Josh Allen is a dual threat quarterback. Go ahead and just leave. I'll talk to Candy. Go ahead and exit stage right. All right, you're wasting your time to come on the show anyway. All right, Candy, we'll talk. All right. Josh Allen is a dual threat quarterback with huge upside. He can throw the ball. He can run the ball. He's got a potential to absolutely wreck opposing defenses come playoff time when it gets cold. Saquon Barkley can run, but can you throw the ball? I don't know if that's the right choice. Welcome back, Skip. I hope you heard all that. The answer is Josh Allen.
All right. Thank you, guys. All right, Stephen A., who is the most impactful injury?
Go ahead and get this wrong too, Skip. Make it 3 for 3.
I mean, did you hear who's moderating? She said Stephen A., not Skip. So that means you should start this conversation.
My fault. I was just extending an olive branch to you. to continue our political theme here that one of our friends wanted us to talk about today. Look,
Listen to TED Talk.
most impactful injury. I think this really comes down to a couple teams have been really hit by the injury bug. Smallville, rough and tough, barking up the wrong tree, Bowers of the Galaxy, Nightmare Slasher have all had some significant injuries. But when I look at the actual significant injury that I think has derailed a season, it is probably one of two teams. It's either Aaron Jones in Smallville, um, or more likely Joe Burrow in Nightmare Slasher. It has completely submarined his team. A team that at the start of the season really was highly competitive. Um, Losing a quarterback of his stature. Now he did replace him with a pretty good quarterback in Justin Herbert, but the pieces have just fallen apart around him, and it's hard to replace the production that you get from Joe Burrow when he's firing on all cylinders to Jason Higgins. That's my answer: is Joe Burrow and the Nightmare Slashers.
Stephen A. I mean, we're actually going to agree on this one for the first time, and I don't even know how
That's
long.
because I
But
went first. That's because I went
for different
first.
reasons. You're kind of missing the boat here a little bit. I'll tell you why. Joe Burrow going down didn't just affect one team. All right, you mentioned it
Yeah, you're right.
affected Nightmare Slashes, which of course it
You're right.
did. But I think it really derailed another team, and that would be on the crazy one. I think if you look
Silly
at
strategy.
Who Joe Burrow is tied to, I think it's Jamar Chase and T Higgins. Their
It's a
production, and
silly strategy, Skip.
obviously, it's silly strategy.
It's a silly strategy to even have those two receivers in the same lineup.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Cincinnati Bengals were the number one passing attack last year, and those are two of the top
How
10,
many
12-ish
games?
wide receivers in the NFL.
How many
Like I
games?
don't fault. Hold on, Stephen A. I'm talking,
Sorry.
not you. You're saying what started. Okay, I'm the crazy one. Built their strategy around Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and one of the best offenses in the league. I cannot fault her for that strategy. I think you've seen this past weekend when they had a competent quarterback under center that could actually throw accurately and understood the concept of NFL football is to get the football to your best players. Look what T. Higgins and Jamar Chase did. I mean, that's top level fantasy production. You'll be hard to find another fantasy team in this league that put up the same production from their wide receiver one and wide receiver two. Joe Burrow going down definitely affected on the crazy one. I think a little more than Nightmare Slashers.
I'm interested to find out how many games last year both T. I don't disagree with you. Number one, it's a good strategy to have a Joe Burrow throwing to Chase and Higgins. I don't like the idea of putting both of those two receivers as your one and two receivers on the same team because how many times last year, and I don't know the answer to this question. I don't know if you can look this up real quick. But how many games last year in fantasy football did Jamar Chase and T. Higgins both in the same game have 20 points or more? I think Higgins had 21 last week, and Chase went off with 40 something points. That doesn't happen very often. Usually, if one is feasting, the other is kind of left in the cold. Or do you have information for us, Candy, or Skip? I'm curious
Yeah, so I looked it up. It's actually zero. Shockingly, it's
because I know what
Jamar
I'm
Chase
talking
had
about.
Jamar
I
Chase.
tried telling you.
Hold on, it's a little skewed. Jamar Chase had 7 games with 20 plus fantasy points
Yeah,
and won the triple crown, obviously.
he did.
But I did, and T. Higgins had 0 games with 20 plus fantasy points. The only caveat I will say there is T. Higgins did miss significant time with
He
hamstring
did.
injury.
But when they played together, one or the other is racking up those yards. But I don't disagree with you, Skip. I think Joe Burrow's injury was devastating for Nightmare Slashers, but also had a domino effect and hit clearly. It really does hit. I'm the crazy one. I'll give her some credit though. She held on to those two receivers. Come hell or
Yeah,
high water, she refused
got
to trade them, and at least for 1 week, it paid off for her.
All
it.
right. Lastly, we have a new segment on the final word, and Skip will break down his top 5 QBs.
All right, Stephen A. Hold on to your butt. All right, this is possibly going to be the best segment in all of fantasy football. All right.
Probably don't get
Sorry to say. It's, not going to be any of your segments. All right. Whatever it is. I don't even know what they are, but it ain't it. All right. There's a committee put together of experts, all right, people who know football, all right, and they all had a vote, okay, just to break down the process for our viewers. Obviously, that's why you didn't have a vote, sorry to say. Okay. Now, have you ever been to a mountain, Stephen A? I mean, do they have those in New York? I mean, do you understand the concept of how that works?
the
Uh,
point of a segment to get into it, Skip. I know you may not know this
I'll
yet
get
since you don't
into it.
have
It's a good
show,
intro.
but you
All
want to
right.
keep the
It's all
viewers,
about intro. It's all about, yes, I want to keep the viewers on their toes. I give them what they want. All right. So I'm going to start. All right. On the outside looking in, I call that base camp. At the base of the mountain, they're looking up at the top. All right. We got Drake May. All right. Hey, Ken, you seem to think he's the next up and coming Tom Brady or whatever. All right, I'll give you a little bit. He's at the bottom. He isn't quite in that top 5 range for me yet. Baker Mayfield originally was in the top 5, but after this past game, all right, what I kind of seen, the committee didn't vote him to be in it. And the last one would be Herbert. All right, he's had a pretty good year. All right, I can't put him over the 5. All right. So as we go up, we got tiers. At number 5, and I'm going to name every one of them. All right. At number 5, we call this Bills Mafia. He's all we got. All right. No receivers. It's just him. All right. Josh Allen. Josh Allen at 5. All right. We all know. All right. MVP, can carry his team on his back, electric with the legs. All right, very accurate passer. He's had a pretty good year fantasy wise. 11 touchdown passes, 4 rushing on the ground, and he's had 3 30-point weeks. However, he's only had one week at 300 yards passing or more. All right, so he's at number 5. Next tier, call this one what back issues. Matthew Stafford. All right. Matthew Stafford, 17 touchdown passes, leads the NFL right now, and he's had 3 30-point weeks. Pretty solid. You watched the Rams just absolutely demolish the Jaguars this past week, and a lot of it is for the and that's without Puka. All right, and I give a lot of credit to Matthew Stafford.
I agree.
All right, now we get into it. All right, Super Bowl rematch. I got Jalen Hurts tied with Patrick Mahomes. We got 2 and 3. They're on the same tier in my eyes. All right. Jalen Hurts has had 2 30-plus point fantasy performances, 191 fantasy points together. Are you doing math, Stephen A? I know you need to work
You
on it,
listed
honestly.
about 7
They had 2
quarterbacks. I thought this was top 5.
Again, explaining the segment, there is an outside looking in that are at the base of the mountain that aren't in the top 5. That's 3. And then we have Josh Allen, 1. Stafford, that's 2. All right. Jalen Hurts, that's 3.
For 3.
The next one that I'll reveal, Patrick Mahomes, that's 4 quarterbacks. All right. Keep up. Okay. Jalen Hurts, 11 touchdown passes, 5 rushing. And we got the push. It looks like he can actually throw the football down the field. I think he's one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. He's at number 3 for me. Yep, that's right. I said it. Next, this one I don't think anyone's seen coming. I think everyone kind of poo-pooed this guy when it came to the fantasy drafts. I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes. And he's the number 1 fantasy quarterback right now. 14 touchdown passes, 4 on the ground, 4 straight, Stephen A. That's 4, that's consecutive. Fantasy point weeks, 30-point fantasy weeks in a row. And he has 217 points overall. He's on him and Hurts are on the same tier. They're 2 and 3 for me. Patrick Mahomes will be at number 2. All right. Number 1 for Skip's quarterback mountain. All right. For this week in fantasy football.
This bootleg man.
How about them Cowboys, baby? How about them Cowboys? Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is number 1. Listen to this, Stephen A. I know you just love some Cowboys. Listen to this. Yep, take the glasses off. Take it in. All right. 5 30-point or higher fantasy performances 4 straight. That's consecutive. Look it up. 4 straight. All right. 16 touchdown passes, only one behind Matthew Stafford. He's had 4 straight games at 3 touchdowns or more. They have the number 1 offense in the NFL, and he's only had 1 week, and that was week 1, under 200 yards passing. Dak Prescott is number 1 on Skip's Mountain, Stephen A.
Well, Skip's Mountain is all Skip's Mountain did was succeed in getting half of America's viewers to change their channel. That made no sense. You listed like 12 quarterbacks, Skip. This is why ESPN doesn't let you run a segment. Where is Baker Mayfield on this list? Where's Baker?
Oh my goodness. Stephen
Baker
A.
Mayfield.
There's a mountain. Let me show you the graphic. Can you see this graphic? There's
not a mountain.
Outside looking in, son. Outside looking in. You see that Baker? He's on the bottom of the mountain. So I know there's no mountains in New York City when you're too busy covering the NBA. All right, but you walk up to a mountain. There's the base of it. You're not climbing it yet. So you're not on the mountain. You're not in the top 5. That's where Baker is. He's sitting in there staring up, saying, there's Dak up there.
You know,
that's where Baker's at.
You know who you left out of the top 5 quarterbacks? I mean, I heard Drake May, a 2024 draftee. But you know who I didn't hear? I didn't hear your boy Jane Daniels, who couldn't even make the top 5 quarterbacks. That's how wonky that list is. Baker Mayfield should be much higher on it. That's a terrible list.
Did you watch the game?
Where's Shannon Sharp?
Did you watch Baker Mayfield play quarterback?
I'll take Mad Dog. Bring Mad Dog
back. It was
ugly. All right, thank you guys. We appreciate everybody tuning in, and best of luck.
Tony Riley wishes he was this good. I bring credibility to the show, Stephen A. Credibility.
Gonna get us canceled. Gonna get us canceled. Hey,
sure got a lot of time.
Congrats, Skip. You had your first impact segment of Skip's Mountain. That was a good time, America. See ya. Skip's Mountain. Skip's Nightmare.
That segment.